much. Let's welcome in Tom Murphy into the program this morning. We've got a bunch of things we're going to get to with Tom. Tom, I want to start your thoughts with a little college football, Arkansas football. I know it's just reports, but it's all but confirmed. The Deke Adams hire at the defensive line coach. What can you make, and what are your thoughts on what Arkansas has seemingly hired there at the defensive line?
Yeah, a veteran presence and probably a guy who, based on interviewing by Sam Pittman and Barry Odom, I would think, fits the profile of the style of coaching they want to have. And, they went younger with Jamal Ashley, and now they've gone older. And Sam Pittman, has tweeted about the two, him and Bowman. So, all but official.
Yeah. And with these hires that have been made, Tom, recruiting-wise, when stuff like this transitions from a position coach to another, and you've got guys committed and stuff, and I know they're trying to form relationships, or they maybe have prior relationships like some of these guys have had with Bowman and others. What does that look like in the recruiting process? Just how they go about doing that?
Well, I mean, they have to, first of all, kind of get on board with what the Sam Pittman philosophy is, how you recruit, and what your overarching beliefs are, and connect that with the players. And I mean, right now, Arkansas's name, the brand itself, is doing well. Players probably throughout the industry, so to speak, understand that he's a guy. They work really hard, but they try to have some fun, and Sam Pittman treats his players with some respect. And I think that goes a long way. And I think now that they've proven that they can go toe-to-toe with some of the best programs in the SEC, they can recruit basically at any level. And now it's a matter of trying to get some DNs in here. And, that might have made the difference in a game like Auburn or Ole Miss, So it's only going to benefit the Razorbacks that they're adding guys who Sam Pittman and Barry Odom believe are going to, fall in line with their philosophies.
Yeah, and along those lines, you've had two defensive line coaches in as many seasons. So what has to change? Is it, reportedly the changes have been made because of the lack of meeting recruiting expectations, but is it more about recruiting? Is it more about development? What does Arkansas need to do to gain a reputation of it's a good place to go as a defensive lineman?
Yeah, get the ball rolling. I mean, get some more Trey Flowers is in here. Trey came in probably as a 3-star and just had that will to win and developed himself and became a good player. And more Dietrich Wise types, and the opportunity certainly exists. So the way they're recruiting at other spots would lead you to think that they can deliver some defensive linemen, defensive ends, edge guys who can be difference makers. Because when you think about it, Dorian Gerald came here with great stats, but he just was injury prone. And I mean, I know that Zach Williams has the potential to have a better season. I mean, Torian Carter has played very well. Isaiah Nichols will be a senior, and Eric Gregory, inside outside guy who will continue to improve. But adding to that is really big for what the Razorbacks want to get to.
Barry Odom's the only defensive assistant coach that's been here for what will be all 3 years under Sam Pittman. Mm-hmm. Is that concerning to you that there's been that much turnover in those 4 spots, or what's your opinion? What's your take on that?
Well, I do think the D-line deal, there was a lot of recruiting prowess that went into that. Mm-hmm. And Derek LeBlanc did not deliver in the one season, and then Ashley had a chance to get some guys and they didn't get them. So I don't know if you can, draw a line between that and, concern. They've plugged in some schemes and been able to unleash some guys. And they withstood the loss of Jalen Catalon. Who would have thought that they'd lose Jalen Catalon mid-season and Miles Slusher play as well as he did? So I don't know. I'm not overly concerned by it, but it would be nice to have the same defensive staff year upon year under this regime.
A little stability, yeah.
Tom Murphy with us here this morning on the Morning Rush, Whole Hog Sports, Arkansas Democrat-Gazette. Tom, a little basketball for you. SEC, winning the SEC Big 12 Challenge. I know it's the Big 12 SEC, but with the SEC coming out on top, we're going to put that above it. How much is that going to help this conference when it comes around to Selection Sunday?
It certainly can't hurt it. When you look at the conference rankings, the Big 12 is still number one, actually. But when your top two teams, so to speak, Baylor and Kansas, both lose. Kansas lost at home. Baylor lost to a team that just lost to the worst team in the conference. So Alabama, that was a huge win for Alabama. And I do believe, you think about this, if Tennessee had made that last shot and that fast guard, they ran a really nice play. Fran Fraschilla did an excellent job on the broadcast, calling it the hook and ladder play, and I would have just let that guard get all the way to the hole and have some cutters coming in behind him after the help arrived for the last second shot instead of a three-pointer. But anyway, if Tennessee had made that shot and beaten Texas, it would have been 7-3, and that's a pretty good spanking right there. Hey, West Virginia's not playing well. Arkansas, benefited from that. They were at home, nice win. But Florida coming back and beating Oklahoma State was big. Auburn taking down Oklahoma. There was a lot of nice wins in there for the SEC, and I just think that maybe that means your seventh team has a chance to get in, over some other bowl team. Florida's comeback win was big for the SEC. I'll say that.
Tom, what did you think about certain reports having Eric Musselman as a candidate for the Louisville job? Is there some truth there? Is that agent playing the game? How do you look at those things that came out over the weekend?
Yeah, it makes sense that his name, he's doing so well, and he's a kind of a national brand guy. His dad's reputation was such that, you don't think of him. You think of him as the Minnesota coach, but he was in the NBA. He was all over, and Eric's done the same. So I do think that Arkansas, the raise that they gave him should equate to Musselman staying, but it makes sense to me that the national guys will put his name in there. And I guess it's a little bit of an extraordinary circumstance the coach is forced out, before you really even reach the halfway point in league play. So, until there's, a definitive statement from Eric Musselman, I suppose these rumors will still keep going.
10 regular season games. Georgia feels like a can't lose. I think, Ty, you looked their net ranking up as 290-something.
It's awful.
Awful. You can't, quadrant 9 game. You can't afford to lose this one. And then you get Mississippi State at home Saturday night, 7:30. Tom, this is a big game because you want to even the series for the season, and it's another chance to win at home. Kind of evaluate, in your opinion, the week ahead for the Razorbacks with a team near the bottom of the standings, another one that's kind of right in that same chase with you in the middle of the pack of the SEC, trying to climb up into that top 3 or 4.
Right. Well, Arkansas is on the right side of the bubble, it would seem, right now. So you don't want to go lose at Georgia. However, they've shown how dangerous they can be by beating Alabama just last week. So the Razorbacks, they need to continue this defense they've been playing, not go in feeling, this should be an easy one, and get that win. And then, Mississippi State's kind of on the wrong side of the bubble right now, but they handled you well. So you'd like to think that the revenge motif would play into this, and J.D. Notae's presence in the game, who missed the first game, and Arkansas, knowing its rotation better, would lead you to think that they'd have a chance to beat Mississippi State. And if you do, you've got a real head of steam heading down the stretch, when you still have Auburn, Alabama, Kentucky, Tennessee to go, and that's a lot of huge games.
And I would think that Bud Walton may not be cram jam full, but third consecutive Saturday appearance. But A&M this past Saturday, West Virginia, this Saturday, Mississippi State. I would imagine it will be fairly imposing once again, Tom, on Saturday night.
Yeah, I think it will be. And I don't know. I look at Mississippi State as a quality team, But they laid the biggest egg, I would think, in the Big 12 SEC Challenge with their loss at Texas Tech. Looked kind of non-competitive, and I don't know, what was going on, but they had about the worst showing. So I suspect I don't know who they're playing the early part of the week, but they'll probably be ready. But I have a feeling it will be raucous, and it will be a huge home court advantage for the Razorbacks.
9 of those 10 games Saturday were won by the home team. So, it's pretty clear that the home court advantage meant a lot. And the one that you thought might not fall that way would be Kentucky beating Kansas. But playing at home, clearly, at least this year, a big factor in this SEC Big 12 challenge.
Oh, yeah, no doubt about that. And, Tennessee, like I said, almost got that. They got the last second shot, didn't go down. But Kentucky, the way they handled Kansas, that was a bit of a head scratcher because Kansas had been playing quite well, certainly challenging Baylor for the top of the league.
Bill Self.
And yeah,
Bill Self.
He looks like he's been out in the sun a good bit. I don't know, but
yeah.
They manhandled Kansas. I mean, they were ahead by double figures pretty early on in that game. So, huge feather in the cap for the Kentucky Wildcats in the SEC.
Tom, last thing before we let you go, reports of Tom Brady retiring. This is the guy that has most touchdown passes ever, completions, playoff touchdowns, wins, playoff wins. It's all over the place. I know that he took something away from you in the past couple years, but your thoughts on what looks to be pretty determined in Tom Brady retiring at a certain point?
Yeah, I'm not gonna go overboard in my praise for him. He is probably the best football player ever in the NFL, and we lost the Super Bowl to him that you just don't get over when you have it in your pocket. So kudos to them, or kudos to him. That he's had such a remarkable career. How can there ever be a greater quarterback when he's played to the age of 43 or 44 now and has won as many Super Bowls as he has? And then, the year he goes to Tampa Bay, they win a Super Bowl. So that speaks volumes, and, best of luck to him if this is indeed his retirement.
Yep. All right, Tom Murphy with us here. Tom, we'll talk to you on Thursday.
Outstanding.
All right,
Look forward to it. Bye.
Tom Murphy, Arkansas Democrat-Gazette, with us here on the morning.
BetOnline would like to wish you a happy new betting year as we continue our march to the playoffs and beyond. BetOnline remains the #1 spot for all the best sports wagering action for 2022. New year and a new updated desktop and mobile wagering to sign up today and receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Just use our promo code BELIEVE to get started. That's BLEAV. From football, basketball, hockey, boxing, and UFC, right to your favorite Vegas casino games. Don't wait to take advantage of all the amazing offers available for 2022. BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way to wager on all your favorite sports. BetOnline, where the game starts.